Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, massive welcome to Spiritual Times with me, Philip Solomon. I'm here for you between generally 7 to 8 each Thursday. And what we do, we try and address areas that you want to get some knowledge in, or, part of your development. Many of you are looking towards becoming professional mediums, psychic mediums, or healers, whatever it is. This week, we're going to look at something that I'm very interested in myself. And a lot of people have asked me about a lot of mediums or a lot of psychics. You see that they advertise that, they do hypnosis or hypnotherapy as part of their work. Well, that's absolutely okay. I mean, for me personally, I am a properly trained hypnotherapist. I trained many years ago with Gordon May, stage name Delavar. It was probably the best medium. Well, he was a medium as well, but it was the best, certainly the best hypnotherapist in the world. And more latter years, I've been very good friends with Jonathan Royale, who's been very kind to me, more or less, really given me workshops and trainings that have brought me up to date and that. And in fact, Jonathan Royale is a family friend these days. Very good hypnotist, by the way. But does he have a part, hypnotism, in mediumship and the psychic way? Pardon me. Well, yes, of course, I think it does. Because what you have to remember is hypnosis and spirituality intersect. As hypnosis can induce altered states of consciousness, leading people to experience profound spiritual feelings, connect with the deeper aspects of self, and explore existential questions, acting as a bridge, if you like, to higher awareness or the bigger realities which we can all tune into. I always call it the higher network. You've probably heard me say that over the years. Well, clinical therapy, of course, uses scientific techniques for healing. Spiritual hypnosis taps into the state of fostered inner peace. Now, I'm being a bit technical about this, but really I'll try and explain it a little bit more easy as we go along. But, it's connected with the universal concepts, isn't it? That often involve exploring past lives or finding meaning with spiritual traditions. Now, that's where I have used my hypnosis and that particular skills in many ways. I don't think there's a better way to address past life regression than using hypnosis, in my opinion. After 35 years of working in the work, I've written 35 books as well. Not all on hypnosis, of course, but I think it's an intrinsic part of past life regression. And I do a little mini one, which we do here on Zoom or on other things that we can record, with you. So we can do that remotely. I prefer really to do that sort of hypnosis work in the person's home, really. It's a better way to work, really. But how hypnosis connects to spirituality then? Well, altered states of consciousness. Well, that's deep hypnosis. And that can shift focus from the mundane to the profound. There's a statement for you. Allowing individuals to feel like spiritual beings regardless of religious belief. Assessing the subconscious. It unlocks the subconscious mind, revealing deeper meanings about life's purposes and connection, enhancing spiritual understanding at the same time. Meaning and purpose. I believe that hypnosis helps people explore existential questions that they define in their own way while, being part of hypnosis practice to help their own life purposes and cope with anxieties, maybe after, very difficult times in their life where maybe they've lost someone or, I've used hypnosis a lot to help people lose weight sensibly and gain a lot more confidence. I think it's a wonderful tool. The work that I actually do, psyching in sport, I call it. I work with some very, very famous sports people and personalities, major stars of stage and screen. I'm not going to tell you their names because it's a private matter. But a lot of those people have confidence problems, You'd be very surprised. They find it difficult, to walk on the stage and perform or walk on the pitch or into the box ring, whatever. And really, you can really massively improve yourself by, contacting and working with a good hypnotist, hypnotherapist. Because there's some out there, I mean, people say to me, oh, I'm an hypnotherapist. I went on a 7-day little workshop with Sarah Blogs or Jim Blogs, and I've got my certificate and everything. I'm a hypnotherapist now. Well, they're not really, because it takes you years to learn the principles of doing that job correctly. Or if you're very lucky, like I was with Gordon May, I spent about a year with his tutorage, and that was it really. Going back to weight control, I think it's a great way to lose weight. I don't use it, but some hypnotherapists even they give you, those things that they put on the tummy. You have a little operation and they tighten the tummy. I can't remember what they're called really. Are they stomach tucks or something like that? But I don't think you need that really. I think as long as you work well with your hypnotist or your hypnotherapist and you're sensible about losing weight, you quickly will. And it's great for that, really, in my opinion. Spiritual growth techniques, well, I believe it can help guide you individually towards inner peace, a oneness, and a more meaningful existence, often described as connecting, where we say, in our religion, to the great spirit, or you hear me talking about the Aya network. I did mention past life regressions, PLR, and I'm really, really very keen on that. I've had it done for me myself and quite amazed by what come forward. And we have a little mini technique that we do really, which we can sort of do it in about 20 minutes, half an hour, give you an overview of your past lives. And I haven't been doing things for a while. I've already only about £30 or something like that, £50, something like that. And the weight one a little bit more than that. It takes a little bit more time, but there you go. It's all there. Inner child healing. Now this is something you've read about and come across. Reconnecting with the true self and healing past wounds. Now that probably sounds a bit technical, and I suppose it is, but what it really means in simple terms is we all have experiences from the past that are upsetting, and no matter how we try to put them behind us and forget about them, you still need perhaps a little bit of help to just heal the wounds and find it more easy to forget about it and move on from things like that. Loving kindness has one. Directing compassionate thoughts for healing and well-being during your hypnosis work. Some people ask to do that. Can I, send some kind thoughts and loving words to my people while I'm having hypnotherapy? I don't always recommend it, but you certainly is a way that you can do it. And thoughts are tremendously, powerful things. I've told you this many times. Now, it's loving kindness, isn't it? Directing compassionate thoughts for healing and well-being. And if we do that generally, then it works. And if you send thoughts of that nature, they will reach those people, and they do receive that healing. They really do, and it can help you as well. Sometimes you have problems with things that you've said and you regret, or people have said things or done things to you that you don't like. And, if they've apologised, I believe if they really mean it, that should be the end of it. And likewise with you to them. But it isn't, is it really? People can get very upset about things that you've said and retain upsets within themselves for a long while. And really, you can help through hypnosis to bring about change in that and maybe take forward their lives in a much better way. Now, if you're going to talk about hypnosis in spiritual practices, you have to talk really, if you're properly trained, about clinical hypnosis. This focuses on evidence-based techniques or records that the psychological brain changes and can have empowering self-control. Now, I can't make it any more simpler than that because that's what it is. But what I can say in simple terms, what it basically means is that you learn to change the way your brain works, the way you want it to operate, and that's what you can do. Spiritual practice is rooted in faith, energy, or entities, if you like, but can overlap with hypnosis. in achieving states of deep inner focus. And what I always say, the best thing about hypnosis is to learn to do it yourself. Lots of people just want to get the hypnosis done and have it done, don't they? And go away and leave it at that. And I can understand that, but it is a little bit more. Now, for me, this is an important thing, hypnosis and the religious perspectives. Well, most major religions, certainly the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, uh, have no issues with hypnosis, seeing it, as far as I'm concerned, with my experience and my workings with these people, as just a tool for self-discovery and improvement. And I've never really been challenged by a reverend minister of any or a father from those religions. I am a reverend minister myself in the Spiritualist Society, and we more and more look towards interfaith, and I think that we're lucky that we can talk to the people, like I say, in the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church and any other religion for that matter. So coming to understanding, what it is and what it's not. It isn't really about those shows that you go along to see. And, they get some guy up there pretending to be Elvis, or they get another lady up there and tell her to go around the stage clucking like a chicken. You could get people to do that using hypnosis. I mean, hypnotism, I couldn't say that you couldn't, but you can. But more often than not, those sort of people, if I'm honest with you, totally honest with you, they would be the sort of people that you'd see down at the local pub doing all that anyway, and never needing an hypnotist to help them to do it. They're extroverts. And, they're very easy to work with because they want to do it. It's a big plus if you want to do something now to help your hypnotist do, or hypnotherapist. There's two of the same. A lot of people say, I'm not a hypnotist. No, no. Stage hypnosis, that. I'm an hypnotherapist. Same thing, same work. In fact, you could say, in some ways, if you go and see a stage hypnotist and you see your friend who would never go up and do the things that he or she's doing, then at least that hypnotist can do the work, and he or she might be a good therapist to work with. But if you see an advertisement where they're saying, I'm a professional hypnotherapist, I would certainly want to see what their qualifications are and their background experience, because it's not cheap. It's something that can be a quite expensive theory. But, again, I think going back to the religious perspective of things, concerns often stem, I think, from fundamentalist misinterpretations, let me put it that way, viewing it as contrary to their faith through many traditions, even though they've changed over hundreds and hundreds of years, And I think those might be the people who sort of say that, it's contradictory to their beliefs. And I respect that. If you don't think that, it's in any way not right for you, or it's not fitting in with your faith, don't have anything to do with it. It's as simple as that. And in all things, I would say to you, if you're not happy about something, don't do it anyway. And hypnotism, hypnotherapy is no difference. I do very much believe, people have asked me, can you heal people with, hypnotherapy? That really needs to be done by advanced hypnotherapists, people who've done a lot of training. I've written 35 books over the years, published books, probably with another 100 that didn't want to make the mark. But I've published a lot of books, and I've mentioned in some of those my work as a hypnotist, hypnotherapist. I have done the stage work, I'll be honest, in the past when I was a young man, but I don't think I ever really got anybody to do anything really daft or silly. I don't really like to do that anymore, really. I'm not really into stage hypnosis, but you certainly can use advanced hypnotherapy as a science of spirituality, because during your sleep states, any hypnosis that you've had in the past will probably come forward very strongly and help you, to be surprisingly aware and improve in things that you do in life, in everyday life, if you like. Going back to what I said about healing, I do see a lot of hypnotherapists who advertise that they do healing as well. Yeah, I think it can. I think if you there are a lot of conditions if you know that everything else is failed and you're in terrible pain and a hypnotherapist can help you and stop you feeling the pain, but making certain that you kept aware of the conditions or the difficulties that you was having, because you've got to be very careful. Pain can be a wonderful way of showing you where there's problems in your life. And that is the work of the doctors and the nurses and the physicians, supported through hypnotherapy. But it can certainly do that. Healing with advanced psychotherapy, as I've said, really is the science of spirituality. During deeper stages of hypnosis, some of my clients report themselves as being spiritual beings. Uh, Surprising, this does seem to happen quite a lot, and they may even have a feeling that they come from other planets and things like that. And you might sort of think, well, that can't be a reality, can it? But within the Spiritist religion, and if you would go somewhere like Brazil, there are thousands of Spiritists. It's very similar to spiritualism, but they call themselves Spiritists. And they believe that there's life on every single planet out there, and even stars. So, if there's thousands of people who believe that there are life there, and that you might be able to tune in with them and sort of work with them, then I would say it's probably possible, isn't it? There you go. I'm a bit on the shelf with that, really. It's how you sort of work about yourself. So how do you awaken perhaps your soul or your inner spirit with spiritual hypnotherapy? As well as helping you solve problems and unlock your potential, opening the third eye. I've talked to you, those of you who've done workshops with me or other this week. One of the main ways to do that is include it in your meditation techniques. And I think I've already gone over teaching you a method of meditation, which can very much help and support that spiritualist role alongside hypnotherapy, if you like. Right. Hypnosis is a medium to evoke spirituality within by gaining insight and perspective. This helps healing and recovering on the psychological level and activates the pure subconscious manifestation of the physical from the mind. Now, I'm going to break that down into simple terms. What it means is if sometimes you can believe and focus on something that's troubling you, worrying you, working with a good hypnotherapist, you might be able to stop that worry, put it to one side, and some would claim, some people, some hypnotists would claim that it can heal the situation, heal the mind, heal the body, heal the body, heal the mind. And we're working with our sort of levels, aren't we? We are, aren't we, really? One of the questions that I often get asked was, does it have any examples of hypnotism in the Bible? Well, the answer to that is many. There are some people that might say even some of the great leaders, if you read of their experiences and the things that they'd done, it might be that they were doing those examples for people in front of them, and I don't know, turning rocks into bread and wine into water. I'm a little bit careful on that one, really, but certainly there's many examples of what could be called hypnotism and hypnosis in the Bible, and it would be worthwhile you doing that. Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. People say to me, who can be hypnotised and who shouldn't? Well, for the stage hypnotist, that can be a little bit naughty in one way because they'll put it out, that you know you, only the very silly people have done their work and got up there and been the chickens, done Elvis, all that sort of stuff. And really, you'll even get some of the well-known hypnotists who sort of question, how it even comes to be and works. But I do think there's an interest there that really should be looked at because there's a lot of crossovers, isn't there? I will tell you a little secret. When I used to do hypnosis or hypnotism, I love working at the universities. Now, those are generally people of higher education. Well, we hope. I've seen some students, so I would wonder about that, to be honest. but generally they are of higher education in that sort of level, aren't they? And the more educated you are, the more likely you are to go under hypnosis and be hypnotized. Now, I've told you now, so all of those of you think, oh, I'm too clever for this, it won't affect me. Well, the more clever you are, the easier it is to work with hypnosis. And not every hypnotist will tell you that. But that's why I favour the universities and other people that like to work in those sort of situations. Some people should not be hypnotised if you're in a state of mind, you're suffering from any sort of mental condition, or you're suffering from things really that mean that you're not yourself and you're having problems in your life generally, emotional intelligence problems, or you're suffering, as I say, if you're suffering from conditions like schizophrenia or deep depression, then no, you should not really be working with an hypnotist or an hypnotherapist. That's my opinion, and I stand by it. Well, I hope you found that interesting tonight. I always try to come up with different things to talk to you about, and it's always my great pleasure. Uh, I hope maybe some of you will think about maybe training. I could train you in those things, and I would be in a position to be able to give you your certificate or your diploma. But I will say one thing: the same about mediumship work or being a healer. I don't care what college you go to, whatever it is, where it is, what their reputation. A piece of paper or a diploma that won't make you a medium. Won't make you a healer neither. Certainly won't make you a medium. Piece of paper you can wave it about, but you won't be able to do the work unless you've naturally got that ability. And the other thing that I would say to you is have patience with your work. Don't try to rush things if you want to learn about this and do the work. I think a great starting point really is the past life regression. And as I say, I do a little one, which is lasts getting up for half an hour, I should think, or maybe a little bit more. And we just look at it very lightly, an overview. I'm not going to tell you how I do it or how it works, because that's part of the doing the work and the practice. Well, that's it really. I hope that's answered some of your questions. I know a lot of people have asked me about that. One of the questions is often asked to me, what came first, the mediumship or the hypnotism, hypnotherapy? Well, obviously the mediumship, because in my life, I was born into mediumship. I've been a medium all my life. My mum was a famous medium. My father was a very good medium. My grandmother before me, and it was there. Whereas the same as everybody else, to be a good hypnotist, perhaps even for the stage, or to become a good hypnotherapist working with people, you need to study and be confident. The piece of paper will help to some ways because it will give you confidence to the work, but that won't make you a hypnotherapist either. It's experience, training. Everything's about training, experience, and learning that it works. And that's about it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's perhaps a slightly different subject that we would normally talk about, hypnotherapy and its position within mediumship and spirituality generally. But I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll meet you again, same place, same time next week. And it would be wonderful for you to join me. So in the meantime, be good. If you can't be good, be ever so careful.